direction, and direction is the silent force behind every meaningful achievement. When a person knows exactly what they want, every step becomes purposeful, every action becomes connected, and every day feels aligned with a larger vision. But when clarity is missing, life becomes guesswork. You wake up, you move, you work, you hustle, but you don't advance. Because without a clear destination, even the strongest effort lacks momentum. Clarity is the moment you draw a line between where you are and where you want to be, and once that line is drawn, life begins to change. Most people underestimate the power of knowing precisely what they want. They think progress starts with motivation or opportunities or resources. But progress truly begins the moment you decide, with certainty, this is what I'm after. Clarity cuts through confusion. It eliminates distractions. It gives you something to measure, something to pursue, something to protect. When you don't know what you're building, everything feels important. But when your vision is clear, only the things that matter stay on the table. Suddenly you find yourself saying no more often, choosing better habits, conserving your energy, and stopping the cycle of chasing everything and achieving nothing. Clarity also transforms your mind. When your goals are vague, your brain has nothing to lock onto. But when they're specific, your mind begins to search for solutions, connections, and opportunities. You start noticing things you once ignored. You see pathways that were always there, but invisible until you defined your direction. The world becomes less crowded and more navigable because you're no longer wandering. You're moving towards something. Direction doesn't just guide your steps. It strengthens your discipline. When you know what you want, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop quitting at the first sign of discomfort. You stop drifting toward old habits. Instead, you become anchored. Even on days when you don't feel motivated, the clarity of your destination keeps you going. It reminds you why you started. It reminds you what's at stake. It reminds you that success is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently. And that's where progress begins, not in perfection, but in consistent movement toward a clear target. Clarity takes the overwhelming and makes it manageable. You no longer see a mountain, you see steps. You no longer see an impossible dream. You see the next small action. That shift alone is transformative because people don't fail from lack of ability. Most fail from lack of direction. They exhaust themselves running in circles instead of focusing on a straight, intentional path. Clarity also creates confidence. When you know what you're pursuing and why, doubt loses its power. Fear shrinks. You become more decisive. You trust yourself more. Clarity turns uncertainty into intentionality, hesitation to action, and confusion into momentum. The clearer your vision, the bolder your steps become. But clarity doesn't just fall from the sky. It requires reflection, honesty, and sometimes a difficult look at your own life. It asks you to put your desires into words, your goals onto paper, and your future into focus. It's a choice to get specific instead of vague, committed instead of curious, and directed instead of drifting. When clarity enters your life, everything changes. You stop wandering. You stop guessing. You stop living on autopilot. And you begin living with purpose, intention, and deep inner alignment. Clarity creates direction, and direction creates progress. Without it, life becomes motion without meaning. With it, every step becomes part of a journey worth taking. Hope is a beautiful feeling, but it was never meant to carry the weight of your entire future. Hope can inspire you, it can push you to dream, and it can help you survive difficult seasons. But on its own, hope cannot build a new life. It cannot create success. It cannot replace the discipline, structure, and consistency required to rise above your current circumstances. Many people fall into the trap of believing that wishing for a better tomorrow is enough to make that tomorrow appear. But the truth is simple. Hope is not a strategy. You can hope for a better job. You can hope for better health. You can hope for financial stability. You can hope for stronger relationships. But unless you create a plan and take action, everything remains the same. Hope without action becomes an emotional comfort zone, a place where you feel good imagining the future while doing nothing to reach it. It's like standing on the shore, hoping the waves will carry you to your destination. Life doesn't work that way. Progress requires rowing. It requires effort. It requires movement. Hope often gives people permission to procrastinate. They tell themselves, one day things will improve, or maybe something will change. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect signal from life. But perfection never arrives. Opportunities don't knock unless you build the door, and change doesn't appear until you begin the process yourself. Without action, hope slowly turns into frustration, and frustration turns into regret. That's why so many people look back years later and realize they spent more time dreaming about a future than building one. The people who make real progress are not necessarily the most talented or the most gifted. They are the ones who take hope and convert it into action. They turn desire into discipline. They turn dreams into daily steps. They understand that success is attracted by the person you become, not the person you wish to be. These individuals don't sit and wait for conditions to improve. They work to improve the conditions. They design their days, they plan their moves, and they hold themselves accountable. Their actions become the engine that drives their hope forward. A strategy gives hope a place to live. It transforms vague dreams into concrete targets. Instead of saying, I want to be healthier, a strategy says, I will walk 30 minutes every day and adjust my diet. Instead of saying, I want to save money, a strategy says, I will set aside a specific amount every week. Instead of saying, I want to succeed, a strategy breaks success into small, measurable steps that you can achieve consistently. A strategy puts structure around your goals, and structure gives birth to clarity. And clarity is what turns hope into momentum. Hope will always play a role in your life. It keeps your spirit alive. It keeps your vision bright. It gives you emotional fuel. But it is only the spark, never the engine. The engine is discipline, planning, and execution. When hope and action work together, they create transformation. When hope tries to survive alone, it creates disappointment. So the next time you find yourself hoping for a change, pause and ask yourself, what am I doing about it? Then write the plan, take the step, build the habit, and commit to the process. Let hope light the way, but let your actions carry you forward. Because the truth remains, unchanged hope can inspire you, but only strategy can lead you to success. Success requires intentional design, because nothing meaningful in life happens automatically. People often believe that time, luck, or circumstances will somehow open doors for them. But the truth is that progress responds to preparation, not to wishful thinking. Every achievement, big or small, begins with a decision followed by a plan and sustained by consistent action. When you design your life with purpose, you stop being a passenger and start becoming the architect of your future. Many people wake up each day reacting to life instead of leading it. They deal with problems as they come, drift with whatever direction the day pushes them toward, and hope that somehow tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow only changes when today's intentions change. Success begins long before the results appear. It begins in the mind of a person who says, I will not live by accident. I will live by design. That simple declaration separates dreamers from achievers. Dreamers wait for the right moment. Achievers create it. When you are intentional, you know what you want, why you want it, and what you must do to get it. This clarity becomes a compass in a world full of distractions. Without it, even good opportunities can pull you away from your true path. But with it, you move through life with confidence and direction. You stop chasing everything and start pursuing the right things. And the right things build a meaningful life. Designing success is not about creating a flawless plan, it's about creating a focused one. Perfection is not required. Progress is. Many people hesitate to plan because they fear their plan won't be perfect. But the real danger is having no plan at all. A rough path forward is still a path. A flexible plan still gives you structure. You can adjust as you go. You can refine your approach. You can change your method without changing your mission. But you must start with something. A plan, even an imperfect one, gives your energy a direction and your actions a purpose. Intentional design also means taking responsibility for your life. You stop blaming your background, your circumstances, or other people. You realize that your future depends more on your choices than your conditions. Every disciplined action becomes a vote for the person you want to become. Every good habit becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. And every day you follow your plan, no matter how small the step, you move closer to the life you have imagined. Success rewards consistency. It rewards those who show up when they don't feel like it, who take action when others hesitate, and who stay committed long after the excitement wears off. When you design your success intentionally, you build systems that support your goals, routines that strengthen your discipline, environments that remove distractions, and habits that keep you moving even on difficult days. These systems make success less about motivation and more about structure. Over time, intentional design transforms your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who merely hopes. You become someone who creates. You become more confident, more focused, and more capable. You start to trust your own ability to grow. And with that trust, you take bigger steps. You pursue bigger goals. You begin to expect more from yourself, and you achieve more because of it. Success doesn't arrive suddenly. It arrives gradually through thousands of intentional choices. It is built, crafted, shaped, and refined. And when you reach it, you can look back with pride knowing you didn't stumble into a good life. You designed it. A plan makes hard work effective because effort without direction is like running full speed in the wrong direction. You're moving, but you're not arriving anywhere meaningful. Many people think that working harder automatically leads to success. But the truth is far more precise. Hard work only pays off when it is aligned with a clear purpose and a structured plan. A plan acts like a compass. It tells you where you're going, why you're going there, and what steps you need to take along the way. Without that guidance, even the strongest willpower and the longest hours can go to waste. When you create a plan, you transform energy into strategy. You convert desire into direction. You make your dream something you can act on, measure, and adjust. A plan breaks down the overwhelming into the achievable. Instead of staring at a mountain and wondering how you'll ever climb it, a plan hands you the first step, then the next, then the next. Suddenly the climb doesn't feel impossible. It feels organized. It feels intentional. It feels doable. Hard work alone often leads to burnout, confusion, and frustration. People say, I'm trying so hard, but nothing is changing. The issue isn't their effort. It's the absence of a roadmap. A plan shows you what matters and what doesn't. It removes guesswork. It helps you prioritize actions that produce results instead of wasting time on things that only feel productive. With a plan, your energy becomes a tool instead of a burden. A plan also creates accountability. When your goals and steps are written down, you can't hide from the truth. You can't pretend you're progressing when you're not. You see exactly what needs to be done today, this week, and this month. And since the path is clear, you can measure your improvement. Every completed step builds confidence. Every small win feeds motivation. And every day of following the plan turns into momentum that pushes you closer to your future. But a plan doesn't need to be perfect to work. Too many people wait for the right time or the perfect idea before they begin. But progress doesn't require perfection, only clarity and action. A simple, flexible plan is more powerful than the most complicated strategy that you never start. Begin with what you know. Start with what you can control. As you move, the plan will evolve because progress itself gives you new information. You adjust, improve, and refine as you go. A plan also protects your hard work from distractions. Without direction, life pulls you in every possible way. You chase one idea today, another tomorrow, and end the week with nothing finished. But when you have a plan, your priorities are already chosen. You know what deserves your time and what doesn't. This focus multiplies your productivity. Your hours suddenly matter more. Your actions start building towards something instead of fading into nothing. The beauty of planning is that it transforms hard work into meaningful work. It turns activity into achievement and effort into progress. It connects your daily habits to your bigger vision, reminding you that every small action has a purpose. When you work with a plan, you are not just busy, you are becoming the person capable of living the life you dream of. So remember, hard work is important, but hard work alone is not enough. What you really need is hard work aimed in the right direction. A plan gives your effort a mission. It turns your energy into results. And it ensures that every step you take is a step forward. Because when there is a plan, your hard work finally becomes effective, and your future becomes possible. Small steps build big momentum, because progress in life is rarely about sudden leaps. It is almost always about quiet, consistent movement forward. People often wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect burst of motivation before taking action, but perfection is a trap. Life rewards those who begin, not those who hesitate. And beginning doesn't require a dramatic shift. It requires one small step in the direction of your goals. One small decision, one small action, one small commitment repeated daily becomes the foundation for extraordinary change. When you take a small step, something powerful happens. You prove to yourself that movement is possible. You build confidence by doing, not by thinking. The mind starts to believe, if I can do this, maybe I can do a little more. That belief is the spark of momentum. Momentum doesn't come from grand achievements. It comes from the consistent effort that compounds over time. Just like a snowball rolling down a hill, your actions gather strength as they continue. What begins as something small becomes something unstoppable. People often underestimate the value of small steps because they don't deliver instant results. But instant results aren't the goal, lasting results are. And lasting results come from habits, disciplines, and routines that slowly shape who you become. When you commit to doing something small every day, you are training your mind, your body, and your character to show up. Consistency is what separates dreamers from achievers, and consistency is built through small, manageable actions that you can sustain. Think of any major success. Behind every visible achievement are thousands of invisible steps, moments when the person kept going even when the progress felt slow or insignificant. Greatness is never created in a single day. It is built day after day in the quiet hours when no one is watching. Each step may feel tiny on its own, but together they create unstoppable growth. That's the magic of momentum. Once it starts working in your favor, it carries you further than you expected. Small steps also remove fear. When you break a big goal into tiny actions, the goal stops feeling overwhelming. Instead of thinking about climbing the entire mountain, you focus on taking the next step, then the next, then the next. Fear loses its power when the task becomes small enough to handle. Progress becomes natural rather than stressful. You begin to move with confidence because you are no longer intimidated by the size of the journey. And as momentum builds, you begin to experience something even more powerful, the shift in identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who wishes or hopes. You see yourself as someone who acts. The person who walks daily becomes a walker. The person who writes daily becomes a writer. The person who saves daily becomes financially disciplined. This identity shift is what creates long-term success. You don't just achieve the goal, you become the kind of person who always makes progress. The truth is, life doesn't demand giant leaps. Life rewards those who show up consistently, even imperfectly. 1 page a day becomes a book. 1 workout a day becomes strength. 1 small improvement each day becomes confidence. And 1 tiny step today becomes momentum that transforms your future. So don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. Don't underestimate the power of starting small. Commit to the next simple step and let that step become your momentum. Because momentum, once it begins, becomes a force that can change your entire life. Start small, stay steady, and watch how those tiny steps carry you to places you once believed were impossible. Commitment is the silent force that decides whether a plan becomes a success story or remains a forgotten idea. Many people can create plans, set goals, or dream about a better future, but only a few remain committed long enough to bring those plans to life. A plan is just ink on paper until commitment breathes energy into it. Commitment is what turns intentions into actions, actions into habits, and habits into achievements. When you make a plan, you take the first step toward progress. But the truth is, the world is full of abandoned plans, fitness plans that lasted 1 week, business ideas that never left the notebook, goals that faded as soon as the excitement disappeared. Why does this happen? Because ideas are easy, commitment is hard. Motivation gets you started, but commitment is what keeps you going when motivation disappears. Commitment means doing what must be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It means showing up on the days when you're tired, overwhelmed, or discouraged. It means reminding yourself why you started and staying disciplined even when nobody is watching. Every big dream demands a price, and that price is consistency. Commitment is the ability to say, I will keep going no matter how slow the progress feels, no matter how difficult the path becomes. A committed person does not wait for the perfect moment. They create progress with imperfect action. They don't need everything to be easy, convenient, or inspiring. They understand that growth often hides behind discomfort. When setbacks come, they don't see it as a sign to quit, but as a chance to adjust the plan and continue forward. Their mindset is simple. This may take time, but I'm not stopping. And that is why committed people succeed, because they refuse to quit. Every successful entrepreneur, athlete, scholar, or leader had moments when quitting was easier than continuing. The difference is that commitment kept them moving through fear, doubt, failure, and criticism. Plans alone don't create results. Unwavering commitment does. Commitment also requires patience. Many people give up too quickly because they expect fast results. But real change is slow, steady, and often invisible at first. You may work for weeks or months without seeing the outcome you want. Yet during that time, something powerful is happening. You are building discipline, resilience, and character. These inner qualities pave the way for the outer success you seek. Commitment means trusting the process even when the results haven't arrived yet. Another important truth is that commitment creates momentum. When you do something repeatedly, day after day, your habits strengthen, your skills sharpen, and your confidence rises. Over time, what once felt difficult becomes automatic. And once momentum kicks in, progress accelerates faster than you ever expected. You realize that the journey itself has made you stronger and more capable than when you first began. A committed person does not need to be perfect. They only need to be persistent. They may fall, but they rise. They may fail, but they try again. They may get discouraged, but they never surrender the dream. Commitment transforms your identity. It turns you from someone who hopes into someone who acts, from someone who tries into someone who achieves. So remember this, a plan gives you direction, but commitment gives you destiny. The moment you decide, I will follow this path until the end, you separate yourself from the crowd. That decision alone creates a future filled with growth, achievement, and progress. Because in the end, it is not the plan that changes your life. It is the commitment to bring that plan to reality.